This is booked for drama, where stories burn, hearts break, the tea is always hot and never a part 2. Today we're diving into the Crown Prince's game. Let's go. Chapter 1. The Crown Prince I was arranged to marry had a little songbird, a pet he spoiled so rotten she had become impossibly arrogant. Just as I was drafting the agreement to break off our engagement, a comment popped up in my vision, a disembodied text only. Could see, what did the Crown Prince do wrong? He's just trying to get your attention. Sweetie, don't call off the engagement. If you just shed a few tears, he'll give you the world. I turned my head. Outside the cafe window, his little songbird, adorned in haute couture jewelry, clung to Eric Stewart's arm, her smile radiant. He glanced down at her, a lazy, almost careless affection in his eyes. I smiled and replied to my lawyer's text, continue drafting the annulment agreement. The moment I sent the message, the comments in my vision exploded. Why is she so heartless? The poor Crown Prince is going to drink himself into a stupor at the bar. Sigh, the Crown Prince is just a bit proud and stubborn. Now he's lost his wife. It's fine, he'll just bankrupt her family. Then she'll have to come crawling back to him. Then she'll have to fight with other women for his attention every day. The Crown Prince will be in heaven. I stared at the comments, my lips curling into a series of cold smiles. I glanced outside again, and my eyes met Eric's. He raised an eyebrow, letting the girl on his arm cling to him without a hint of guilt. When he saw the look on my face, the corner of his mouth tilted up in a smirk. His little songbird was a minor influencer. They made a handsome couple, drawing a crowd of onlookers who were busy snapping photos. The cafe's glass walls were transparent. I wondered if I was in the background of their pictures. I cursed under my breath, grabbed my bag, and called my driver to pick me up somewhere else. But the moment I stepped out of the cafe, I ran right into them. Me, were you just heading this way? I asked. So you were paying attention to me, Eric said, his eyes crinkling in a lazy smile. The girl beside him shot me a wary look but said nothing, clearly aware of her place. The comments I'd seen earlier flashed through my mind, and a wave of annoyance washed over me. I tried to walk around them, but he grabbed my wrist. I turned back. Upset, he murmured. My eyes swept over him and the girl. Not at all. I wish you two a long and happy life together. He still didn't let go. The girl rolled her eyes. Who are you? Can't you see you're interrupting our shopping? She jiggled an expensive bracelet on her wrist and shot Eric a flirtatious look. Are you just jealous that no one buys you nice things? Do you know he has a fiancé? I asked calmly. She faltered for a second, then scoffed. An arranged marriage? There are no feelings involved. If Eric really loved her, would he be with me? Eric chuckled, his dark eyes fixed on me. My expression wasn't Stuartga. I nodded, then glanced at the hand still gripping my wrist. Let go. He didn't move. The banquet is in 2 days, he said, find another date. The girl was stunned for a moment, then she looked me up and down and giggled. Oh, so you're the fiancé. So what? Eric is taking me to the banquet. I calculated in my head. The annulment agreement should reach the Stewart family by tomorrow. Fine, I said. Can you let go now? Eric froze, his face darkening. Who are you going with? I mentally ran through a list of eligible young men from good families, all handsome and well-built. I haven't decided yet, I said honestly. But I'm sure I can find someone when I get home. The silence was deafening, broken only by the distant hum of the shopping district and the curious glances of strangers. More comments appeared. Oh my god, the Crown Prince is furious. Crown Prince. Can't you just look at me with teary eyes and give in? Why do you have to provoke me? Theus. Sweetie, just act cute. Cry a little. Don't waste your beauty and his love. Seriously, don't be so stubborn. When the Crown Prince gets angry, there's no telling what he'll do. Bankrupt your family and lock you up. That'll teach you. Sarah Burrell, you've got guts, Eric gritted out, his voice dropping to an icy whisper. He released my wrist. I took a step forward, my eyes landing on the necklace around the girl's neck. I looked at Eric, my gaze deep and meaningful. You once told me you were going to give me that necklace. Then I turned and walked away. Eric caught up to me, his tone unreadable. You remember? But I don't need it anymore. She knows how to be cute, she follows me around all day, she even calls me hubby, Eric said, his voice low and rumbling. So that's why he gave her the necklace he had promised me? A wave of nausea churned in my stomach. The comments erupted. He's dropping hints. The Crown Prince is finally making a move, hee. Sweetie, just call him hubby once, and he'll give you his life. The Crown Prince dreams of you calling him hubby. He has to steward his sheets when he wakes up. I stopped and faced him, my voice slow and deliberate. You're right. From now on, I'll be cute to other men. I'll call other men hubby. And they'll give me whatever I want. Say that again. Eric's voice was colder than I had ever heard it. He grabbed my shoulders, his grip so tight I thought he would crush my bones. Just then, the girl who had followed them over piped up, her voice timid. Eric, what's wrong? He didn't spare her a glance, his eyes still locked on me. She pouted, glaring at me. Did you make him angry? He's never unhappy when he's with me. The nausea intensified. I turned my head away, unwilling to say another word. After a long moment, Eric's hands dropped. He closed his eyes, a storm cloud of frustration enveloping him. She knows not to make me angry, Sarah, he said coldly, then turned and walked away. The girl immediately followed, cooing and trying to soothe him. From behind, they looked like a perfect couple. The comments flooded in. She just won't give in. She's pushing away the one who loves her. All she had to do was say a few nice words to him. Why let that White Lotus have her way? I can't believe this. Look at the trending topics. Someone posted photos and videos of them online. Chapter 2. I got in the car and opened my phone. Several messages from my friends were waiting. Oh my god, Sarah, you're trending. Did you know the woman with your fiancé is an influencer? Are you okay, sweetie? Someone just sent me the pictures. How dare Eric flaunt his mistress in front of you? That scumbag. That influencer with your fiancé is always on her live streams talking about a man who loves her and buys her everything, so it was Eric all along. I can't believe it. Eric never used to have so much as a female mosquito around him. We all thought he was so clean. Why is he suddenly keeping an influencer? I carefully crafted my replies, then clicked on the trending topic. The photos and videos were crystal clear, capturing every moment of the tense confrontation between Eric and me. The comments were overwhelmingly in support of the influencer. Is this woman trying to steal our Ling Ling's boyfriend? Did you see how her boyfriend treated her? He was so harsh, but he's always so sweet to Ling Ling. Close black lens bracket. This woman just lingered around them. After they left, she kept staring. Is she trying to look heartbroken? Ah, get lost, you green tea bitch. Stop trying to seduce someone else's boyfriend. So, my fiancé was now someone else's boyfriend. I sank into the backseat, my mind blank. The fact that this topic was still trending, and even gaining traction, meant that Eric had to have approved it. Did he really love me, as those comments suggested? Was his love allowing the internet to twist the truth and hurl endless abuse at me? Closed my eyes in pain. After a long while, I made a call, my voice hoarse. Get this trending topic taken down. Now, the comments became active again, my heart aches for her. If only she had just given in, acted a little cute, it wouldn't have come to this. These brain-dead netizens are just following the crowd. Song Ling is the real other woman. I'm so angry. The crown prince did go a little too far, but Sarah is too independent. He wants to see her rely on him, to be helpless without him. I have a feeling this topic won't be easy to take down. Someone is already doxing her. Once the Betrayal group sees this, it's going to affect their stock prices. My eyes lingered on the last comment. Sure enough, my phone rang a few moments later. The voice on the other end was exasperated. Someone is constantly buying up this trending topic. We're trying to take it down, but it's a constant back and forth. The effect is minimal. I said nothing. The person sighed. Did you piss someone off? This topic is being pushed so hard, it's impossible to get it down. This is a major operation. Isn't your fiancé doing anything? Is he just going to sit there and watch? Because the one buying the topic is my fiancé. But, not for long. My father's call came next. His voice was laced with fury. Sarah, what is going on? If someone hadn't told me, I would have never known. I took a moment to compose myself. Is it my fault that Eric is cheating? Plenty of men cheat, but how could you let this become a public spectacle? And let that woman flaunt it in your face? My father's voice rose to a shout. I explained patiently, Eric bought the trending topic. He's the one keeping the mistress. Dad, this has nothing to do with me. I'm already trying to get it taken down. My father scoffed. If you can't keep a man's heart, it's your fault. He hung up. The car came to a stop. Miss Betrayal, we've arrived at the villa, the driver said. I moved like a zombie, pushing open the car door and walking, step by step, towards the dark, silent house. My father's words were so self-righteous. When he cheated, when he kept a string of mistresses, he blamed my mother for getting old and losing her charm. He conveniently forgot who had used her entire dowry to support his business, who had been the one sacrificing everything for him in the background. Chapter 3. That night, I called Eric. He answered almost instantly. What? He asked, his voice lazy. Stop buying the trending topic, I said softly. He paused, his tone lifting. Why so listless? Are you sad? What do you want? I couldn't control it anymore, my voice cracking. He didn't answer. Are you happy now? I asked, my voice hoarse, my body trembling. Watching me get doxed, being called the other woman, seeing the Betrayal group stock plummet? Are you satisfied? How could such an unreasonable madman exist? After a long moment, he finally spoke, his voice soft. Don't cry, baby. Do you want to see me? I can come over right now. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. I stood on the balcony, the cool night wind drying the fresh tears on my face. I was a complete and utter joke. Finally, I managed to force out 2 words. No. Don't. Eric repeated my words, his tone unreadable. Don't? What do you mean, Sarah? His voice turned cold. I don't want to see you. I used the last of my strength to hang up. I collapsed onto my bed, but sleep wouldn't come. The trending topic was still there, a glaring accusation. In the family group chat, my relatives were tagging me, their messages full of blame. Then, a younger cousin posted, honestly, cousin, if you can't keep Uncle Eric, then you should just step aside. Don't you know how much this is affecting us? Once the floodgates were open, my other cousins chimed in. Another cousin posted a face-palming emoji, so embarrassing. Letting the other woman walk all over you. If I were you, I wouldn't be able to show my face in public. Uncle Eric is spending all his money on that influencer. Hasn't he ever spent any money on you, cousin? Maybe you should just let someone else have the engagement. It's not like Uncle Eric likes you anyway. The chat fell silent after that last message. I laughed bitterly. I wished I could just pass the engagement on to someone else. But my father was still in charge of the Betrayal group, and I was his only daughter. He would never let go of this opportunity to curry favor with the Stewart family. I muted the group chat and scrolled through my social media feed. The first post was a group photo from a young heir. In the center were Eric and Song Ling. Eric had his arm around her waist, a lazy smirk on his face as he looked at the camera. His friends were on either side, raising their glasses in a toast. What did it look like? Right, an official relationship announcement. I liked the post and turned off my phone. The comments flooded in again. Don't be sad, sweetie. It's all an act. We all know the Crown Prince loves you the most. Yup, after his friend posted that, he's been checking every minute to see if you liked it. He really wants to see you. He was so sad when you rejected him tonight. Sweetie, call him. Tell him you're jealous. He'll come running, hee hee. I closed my eyes, numb. I banished the comments from my mind. After what felt like an eternity, I sat up, my body cold, and sent a message to my lawyer. Send the annulment agreement to me first. I'll find a steward to give it to Eric later. I needed a day to transfer my assets without anyone noticing. After the banquet, I would take a red-eye flight to another country. The annulment agreement would be sent in 2 copies, one to my father and one to Eric. If I stayed, even if I refused to marry Eric, my life would never be peaceful. My father would just marry me off to someone else. Chapter 4. Everything went smoothly. I had even chosen a beautiful mermaid-style gown. As I walked into the banquet hall, a smile on my face, my friends rushed over to ask how I was doing. One of them nudged me with her elbow. No date, huh? I can lend you my brother. I thought for a moment. No, thanks. I don't think it's a big deal to come alone. True, a man would just get in the way of our chatting, she giggled. Suddenly, there was a commotion from across the room. We followed the sound. Eric, in a silver-gray suit, looked effortlessly cool, a faint smile on his lips. Song Ling was on his arm. So when Eric said he was going to be with Song Ling, he meant he was taking her to this banquet. Her eyes sparkling. My eyes fell on Song Ling's dress. It was the exact same mermaid gown as mine. When I ordered it, I was told it was the only one in the country. Had hers been flown in from abroad overnight? Eric was deliberately trying to humiliate me. Sure enough, the moment Song Ling saw me, her face turgid. She bit her lip and whispered something to Eric. He then slowly turned to look at me. Song Ling trotted over, her almond-shaped eyes glaring at me. Did you have someone find out what dress Eric ordered for me so you could copy me? The commotion drew a crowd. My friend was shocked. Don't be ridiculous, Song Ling scoffed. You're just jealous that Eric is good to me. This pathetic trick is disgusting. And you don't even look as good as me in it. She looks better than you, my friend muttered. Song Ling fumed and ran back to Eric, shaking his arm. Eric, look at them. Eric's dark eyes lingered on me for a long time. Finally, he smiled. The comments went wild. The Crown Prince smiled. He thinks she looks better in it. The eyes never lie, hee. Crown Prince and Sweetie for Eva. I'll throw in a bag of sunflower seeds. But wait, to provoke her, to make her come to him, all pitiful and obedient, he's going to. I was still wondering about that last comment when the microphone crackled to life. Everyone looked over. A senior secretary from the steward group was holding a microphone and a card. Thank you all for attending this evening. I have a major announcement to make by a resolution of Mr. Stewart, and the board of directors of the Stewart Group's shares will be gifted to Ms. Song Ling, free of charge. The entire room erupted. I looked up, my eyes wide with disbelief. Eric had a certain amount of shares, I didn't know the exact number. But another was reserved for his future wife. Even just, in a massive corporation like the Stewart Group, represented a staggering annual income. He had given it to Song Ling. And announced it at this very moment. The comments were scrolling frantically. Here it comes, the psycho Crown Prince's move. The poor sweetie is being laughed at by everyone, her only option is to go and beg him. Yes, and then she'll have to helplessly stay by his side, to be endlessly taken, so hot, so hot. What is she still holding on for? The Crown Prince loves you so much. Just slap Song Ling and take his arm, be cute and win him over. Under the weight of everyone's mocking, pitying gazes, I walked towards Eric, step by step. His eyes followed my every move. I stood before him. He looked down, a smirk on his lips. I smiled back, the words rolling from my throat, one by one. The annulment agreement is on its way. It will be in your hands soon. Whether or not you continue your partnership with the Betrayal group is your decision. I'm out. I looked him in the eye, my face impassive, and turned to leave. Eric grabbed my wrist, his fingers trembling with the force of his grip. What do you mean? Sarah, what do you mean? I didn't turn back. Annulment. Don't you understand? I don't agree, he growled, his voice tight. Are you mad that I gave the shares to someone else? I frowned. I have no relationship with you. What do the Stewart Group's shares have to do with me? No. I turned back, impatient. His eyes were a swirling vortex of black ink. If you want it, anything can be yours. There's no need for an annulment. His gaze was locked on me, his voice low and hoarse. I didn't want to waste any more time with him. Let go. I won't let you go, he said, his grip tightening, almost stubborn. I winced in pain. My friend stepped between us, her voice sharp with anger. Eric, you're the one keeping a mistress. And you won't let Sarah break off the engagement? Is that fair? Song Ling shrieked. Who are you calling a mistress? Eric loves me the most. My friend scoffed. Then why won't he let Sarah go and marry you? Song Ling faltered, looking at Eric, her voice choked with tears. Eric, what are you doing? You don't even like her. Isn't an annulment exactly what you want? Eric never once looked at anyone else. The corners of his eyes were slightly red. Sarah, stop this. The shares, the necklace, they're all yours. What makes you think I would want them? I retorted. I wrenched my hand free. Any more time spent with him would just delay my flight. I wish you two happiness, I said coolly. A long life together, and many children. Eric opened his mouth to say something, but I took a step back. Don't stop me. Don't make me lose respect for you. As I walked towards the exit, the comments scrolled endlessly. Huh? What's happening? Isn't this supposed to be the happy ending? Aren't they supposed to live happily ever after? The crown prince overplayed his hand. It seems she's really jealous. If she just breaks off the engagement like this, who knows what the psycho crown prince will do? Maybe he'll kidnap her tomorrow. What, a kidnapping play? I'm waiting. Of course, I was afraid of Eric losing his mind. That's why I couldn't miss this opportunity. In a few hours, I would be halfway across the world in another country. Chapter 5. As the plane took off, I let out a long sigh of relief. I had booked the ticket in such a hurry that only economy class was left. But I wasn't picky. I pulled my hat down low, the tension of the past few days finally releasing its grip. My eyelids grew heavy. Just then, I smelled a familiar scent. A very expensive, custom-made perfume, the kind that only Eric wore. My heart almost stopped. I slowly turned my head and met a pair of dark, intense eyes. A single mole at the corner of one. "Where are you going?" he asked, his voice low. Eric's dark gaze was fixed on me, his shadow falling over me. I closed my eyes. Tears seeped from the corners. The silence stretched on. "Why are you crying?" he asked after a long moment, his fingertips gently brushing away my tears. Finally, with a complex expression, he said, his voice deep, "I won't let Song Ling appear before you again." He pulled me into his arms. The familiar scent enveloped me. I cried silently. Eric's arms tightened, caging me. He rested his chin on my neck. "Don't ever talk about an annulment again, baby." Comments. Actually, the crown prince is thrilled. He finally saw her get jealous and cry. The friend who gave the crown prince this idea deserves a reward. Now she'll have to be insecure and clingy all the time, a perfect little wife. Song Ling. Sobs, "But I thought the crown prince loved me the most." Crown prince. "Thanks for letting me see my wife get jealous of me. It was a blast. Give her a reward. Why did you have to follow me?" I whispered. "I have someone I like in another country." Eric stiffened, then he casually tucked a stray strand of my hair behind my ear. "Are you lying to make me jealous?" he asked, his tone certain. "Not everyone is like you," I thought calmly. I pushed him away. "When we land, I'll introduce you." Eric gritted his teeth. Seeing my blank expression, he laughed in exasperation. "I don't like it when you lie like that." He cupped my chin. "Pretending you like someone else to make me angry? Sarah, you'll never have anyone else to like in this lifetime." I forcefully turned my head away, staring out the window at the dark sky and the glittering city below. Chapter 6. Eric snorted, his voice casual. "I'll take you to a nearby island for a bit, like a honeymoon. Then we'll go back and get married." The crown prince is acting all nonchalant, but he's desperate to get married. When he heard her say she liked someone else, his heart stopped. Luckily, he quickly rationalized it. How could she possibly like someone else? "Sweetie, don't say things like that. The crown prince can't stand to hear you say you like someone else." So, when he did something, it was fine. But if I did even a tenth of what he did, it was my fault. After we landed, I was searching for the hotel one had booked. Eric stood with his arms crossed. "Where's the person you like?" I paused. He raised an eyebrow knowingly and let out a soft chuckle. "All right, no more jokes like that." He had clearly accepted my lie as a ploy to make him jealous. Just then, I saw a flash of bright blonde hair. "He's here," I said. "Sister." A young man ran towards me, his steps light. He wrapped his arms around my waist and lifted me into a spin. Eric's face instantly darkened, his expression turning vicious. "Who are you? Put her down." I steadied myself against the young man's arm and scoffed. "Didn't I tell you?" The young man's bright, amber eyes darted between Eric and me. Just when I thought the jig was up, he took my hand and grinned at Eric. "Who are you? Why are you bothering me and my sister?" As soon as he finished speaking, a fist flew towards him. I stepped in front of the young man without a second thought. The fist stopped an inch from my face. Eric's breathing was heavy and ragged, his face livid. "Sarah, I'm your fiancé. Didn't your butler tell you?" I said lightly. "You received the annulment agreement." "I didn't agree," Eric gritted out. "I don't need your agreement," I said, annoyed. I took the young man's hand and smiled gently. "Let's go." To my hotel. A dark cloud settled over Eric's face, his lips twisting into a mocking smile. "Sarah, aren't you afraid of taking this too far? What if I don't want you anymore?" I gave him a long, quiet look, then turned away. The one who had taken things too far was someone else. "You'd better never come begging to me," he said, his voice low and hoarse, laced with a morbid, sinister tone. He then turned and walked away decisively. "No, don't go. It's over. The crown prince is going to destroy the Betrayal group, so that she has to go back and beg him. She really went too far this time. Why did she have to use another man to provoke him?" Sigh. A dull ache throbbed in my heart. Why were even the comments on his side? Why was the same action met with such different reactions and consequences for the two of us? I hid the pain in my eyes. Just then, my hand brushed against something soft and fluffy. I looked up in surprise. The young man had placed my hand on his head of wavy, blonde hair. He smiled brightly. "I saw on your Instagram that you liked a lot of golden retrievers. Why don't you pet me like one?" I snatched my hand back as if I'd been burned. "No, thank you. And thanks for your help just now. I'll pay you extra." He readily agreed. "Okay, thank you, sister." It wasn't until I was in the passenger seat that I took a proper look at the young man who was now driving. Under his blonde hair, his skin was fair, his nose high and straight, his features sharp and defined. The corners of his eyes were slightly upturned, as if he were always smiling. He just looked very young. "How old are you?" I asked. 19, he said, turning the steering wheel. "I'm an adult. What's your name?" "You can call me Lorne." I nodded and said nothing more. He was quiet for the rest of the drive, not asking any more questions about Eric. When we got to the hotel, he pulled out a small notebook. Our itinerary for the next few days is here. Do you want to take a look? I cut him off. Are you short on money? He paused. Yeah, I'm working to pay for school. Why, sister? Looking into his bright, amber eyes, I almost blurted out an offer to sponsor him. But I swallowed the words. I couldn't be like Eric. It would be too insulting to just say it like that. I shook my head silently. Just as I was about to offer him more money, I noticed the watch on his wrist. I quickly looked away. We arrived at the hotel soon after. Chapter 7. I woke up to my phone blowing up. Half the calls were from my father. I didn't need to guess to know that Eric had made his move. But, what did it have to do with me? I had already liquidated and transferred all my assets. Even if my father went bankrupt, it had nothing to do with me. The other half of the calls were from Eric. His texts were also flooding in. What are you doing? Why aren't you answering your phone? Are you with him? Sarah, it was your father who saved my mother. I agreed to marry you out of gratitude. And now you're fooling around with someone else? If you come back now, I can pretend nothing happened. Opening square bracket ellipsis closing square bracket. I moved my finger and blocked him. I scrolled through my other chats, finally finding a bit of peace amidst the chaos. Lorne. Good morning, sister. I'm here to pick you up. Remember to wear sunscreen today. The sun is really strong. Replied with a, got it, and idly scrolled through his social media feed. I kept scrolling down until I found an invitation. The caption read, on my way. I sat up straight. I stared at the invitation for a long time, then laughed out loud. It was an invitation to a private Stewart family gathering. No wonder. Normally, with Eric's personality, he would never have let me leave with the young man last night. He would have dragged me back to the country. And he wouldn't just be sending threats via text now, without any real action. No wonder Lorne, who claimed to be working to pay for school, was wearing a Vacheron Constantine on his wrist. So, Eric had personally sent his own cousin, whom I had never met, to me. To spy on me? Just as I was thinking, the comments lit up, so the strange man is his cousin. He never appeared in the original plot. The Crown Prince is so conflicted right now. He wants his cousin to spy on her, but he's also afraid she'll actually get with his cousin. The Crown Prince was really angry last night, ha ha ha. Even though he knew it was his cousin, he was still furious. He loses it whenever he sees a male around her. It's okay, she'll be back with the Crown Prince soon. The cousin is going to drug her soy milk, the Crown Prince will swoop in and save her, and she'll fall madly in love. Me. There was a knock on the door. I opened it to find Lorne, a bright smile on his face. Good morning, sister. He held up a bag. I was afraid you wouldn't be used to the breakfast here, so I brought you some Chinese breakfast. I took the bag and smiled. Thank you. I stepped aside to let him in. I gave Lorne's number to a friend back home, telling her he was a very handsome guy. Less than a minute later, Lorne's phone rang. He answered, bewildered. He stammered through the onslaught of questions from the other end. I quickly made a cup of instant coffee, poured the soy milk into it, and handed it to Lorne. I brought this coffee from back home. Want to try it? He took it subconsciously and took a sip, his brow furrowing slightly. But the person on the phone was still talking, and Lorne, frustrated, tilted his head back and drained the cup. I counted down in my head. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The handsome blonde young man, having just managed to hang up the phone, collapsed to the floor. Chapter 8. The person on the bed woke up, their eyes flying open. His hands and feet were tied to the four corners of the bed. You're awake, I said, glancing at him. He was pale, staring at me. After a moment, he smiled. How did you know? Because the comments were finally useful for once. I lifted his chin with my index finger. You're very handsome. Lorne let me study him. Compared to my brother? I didn't answer. My gaze traveled down his collarbone, my fingertips tracing the outline of his well-defined abs. Further down, to his V-line. Sister, you can tie me up, but why did you have to take my clothes off? He pouted. I didn't answer directly, just commented, you're not as skinny as you look. Of course not. Now that his cover was blown, the innocent excitement from last night was gone, replaced by the arrogance of a rich heir. I pulled off his pants too. I took a few pictures with my phone. You don't want anyone else to see these photos, do you? His expression stiffened for a moment, then he chuckled. Then they'll just see how well endowed I am. A little embarrassing, but I don't really care. I pulled out a fruit knife I had just bought. His face sturged instantly. He looked at me with wide, innocent eyes. I'm sorry, sister. Please spare me. What did Eric send you here to do? I pressed. Ah, he said. He told me to make sure there were no other men around you. And then? Pretend to be a robber, so he could come and save the day. You Stewart family, I said slowly, you're all terrible people. Just then, the door. Eric strode in, but his face sturged the moment he saw the scene in the room. You too? I turned my head and smiled at Eric. Your brother has a nice body. I like it. Chapter 9. What did you say? Eric grabbed my wrist and pulled me up, his eyes locked on Lorne with a murderous glare. You seduced her, didn't you? Lorne smiled helplessly. If that's what you want to think, then sure. Eric punched him. Fuck, you hit so hard. Lorne cursed. Tied up, he could only take punch after punch. Finally, Lorne was barely conscious, his face a mask of despair. I'm going to tell Uncle. After he was done, Eric called his assistant and told him to call an ambulance. I watched, a cold observer. The room was clean again. It was just Eric and me. I finally looked at him. I don't know if you don't understand English. I'm not playing hard to get. I'm not trying to make you jealous. I said I liked someone else because I wanted you to give up. I don't like you anymore. I don't want to be entangled with you anymore. Do you understand? He was stunned. I pointed to where Lauren had been lying, the anger and disappointment that had been simmering inside me finally exploding. You had him drug me so you could play the hero. Eric, don't you think you're despicable? I'm disgusted that I ever liked you. My voice was so high that I started to gag. He tried to help me, but I stumbled back. I don't like you anymore, I said, my voice dripping with scorn. Stop deceiving yourself. If we're talking about feelings, all I have left for you is hatred and disgust. Are you serious? Eric's eyelashes trembled. I'm sorry. I didn't know you would be so against it. I won't, in the future. I laughed, exasperated. Did he think I was only angry because he had Lauren lie to me and drug me? I threw the photos Song Ling had sent me this morning in his face. Eric, there is no future for us. He stood there, picking up a photo, his voice hoarse. This was all an act. I just wanted to make you jealous. Eric's eyes filled with horror. I'll make Song Ling pay. I scoffed. What you do has nothing to do with me. Just stop bothering me. He wanted to explain, but it felt as if a giant rock was crushing his chest. You fell for Lauren? He asked, his voice low. Neither of you is worthy of my affection. I shouted. Stop torturing me. Every second you're near me, I feel sick. He tried to come closer. I didn't hesitate to smash a glass and hold a shard towards him. He kept walking, letting the shard cut into his flesh, blood streaming down his arm, his fingertips still reaching for my face. What do I have to do, he whispered, for you to forgive me? Disappear completely. Stop bothering me. I turned my head away. He fell silent. The smell of blood filled the room. I watched the blood drip onto the floor. If you die here, I'll have to deal with your body. It's too much trouble, I said flatly. I was wrong. I just wanted you to care about me, Eric said, his gaze downcast, his lips pale. No one ever taught me how to love someone. I didn't want to argue with him. He pursed his lips. I'll do everything I can to make it up to you. With that, he turned away, his back looking thin and lonely. Eric, I said. He turned back, his eyes full of hope. Clean up the blood you spilled. Your mistake shouldn't be a problem for the hotel staff, right? The light in his eyes flickered, then dimmed. He took a few tissues from the table, wet them, and knelt to wipe the floor. I glanced at him, then went to the other table and opened my laptop to work. Close the door on your way out. Eric whispered a soft, okay. I only looked up when I heard the door close. The room was empty and clean, the floor spotless. Chapter 10. I gave Eric an annulment agreement. He gave me a share transfer agreement. Along with it came a necklace, every diamond on it sparkling with a brilliant light. It was a little too bright for my eyes. I checked a few recent auction houses. The price was 10 times what the necklace I had wanted before had cost. I flipped through the share transfer agreement. Eric had given me all his shares as the heir to the Stewart Group, leaving nothing for himself. I unblocked Eric and called him. Have you ever thought that after I accept this, I could just sell off all the shares? Your Stewart Group stock price, control, and cash flow would all be in trouble. Sarah, he said, his voice low. Eric hadn't called me that since high school. If you want to keep them, all the profits are yours. If you don't, selling them off to vent your anger is another option. He seemed to laugh on the other end of the line. It's all up to you. If I were your parents, your relatives, I would have killed you, I scoffed. He paused, then after a long moment, just said, I'm sorry, Sarah. I said nothing. He was silent for a moment, then continued, you once said you liked shiny diamonds. I found the most expensive one on the market. That other necklace, I wanted to give it to you. But you always had so many things that seemed more important than me. I gave it to someone else to get your attention, to make you jealous. I really regret it. After I recorded the call, I said slowly, the shares are valuable, I can accept them. I won't sell them off unless something major happens. The necklace is beautiful, I can accept that too. But you, Eric, I don't want to. Are you sure you still want to give these to me? A voluntary gift? This is my compensation to you. Eric's voice was sour. You think I don't love you enough, but I really do love you. I just used the wrong methods before. I shrugged. Since you're giving them to me voluntarily, I have no reason to refuse. This can be my compensation for emotional distress. Thank you. I said the last two words with genuine sincerity. Then I hung up. With the dial tone, my thoughts began to drift. Chapter 11. Once, Eric and I were very close. When I was in middle school, my father was negotiating a partnership with the Stewart Group. In a cliché turn of events, he was kidnapped. He nearly died saving Mrs. Stewart. Mrs. Stewart, her face streaked with tears, asked him what he wanted. I have a daughter at home, he said weakly. I'm afraid I won't be able to take care of her. My father was a shrewd man. If the favor was repaid with money, it would be over. But if the Stewart family's only son married his daughter, he would be set for life. He only said half of it, but Mrs. Stewart understood. In a moment of emotional distress, she agreed. Fine, let my son marry your daughter. You're a good man, so your daughter must be very kind. But Eric and I knew each other before that. He sat behind me in class, constantly poking me with his pen cap. When I turned around to glare at him, he would just grin and say, are you hungry? I'll go buy you something to eat. Aren't you supposed to be studying? I would snap, then turn back around. Eric didn't mind. He brought me snacks day after day. He even gave me the snacks other girls had stuffed in his desk. I don't want other people's leftovers, I said coolly. He paused. Then from now on, I'll only give you what I buy. He was about to throw away the other snacks. If you don't want them, why don't you just refuse when they give them to you? You're wasting their money, I said. He looked wronged. But I don't want them, and they insist on giving them to me. Just like you don't want my snacks, but I insist on giving them to you. I was silent for a moment, then ignored him and went back to my work. Later, I couldn't run the long-distance race for the school sports meet. Everyone said, you're the class president, you have to set an example. You'll get through it if you just keep running. It was Eric who stood up and slammed his hand on the desk. She's not running, so what? You're going to force her? If you're short on people, I'll just wear a dress and run. Me. Everyone fell silent. After that, I started being nice to him. The landlord's silly son. We walked to and from school together, played video games together, and I helped him with his homework. He called me, Sarah, all day long and brought me stuffed animals, saying, so fluffy, so cute. Until one day, he came to me with a long face. What's wrong? I asked. My mom wants me to get married in an arranged marriage, he said. I'm so young. It's a good thing, I comforted him. A good match. She said her name is Sarah, he complained. Even if her name is Sarah, could she be as cute as the one in front of me? I was silent. Actually, my dad said he found someone for me too. Could it be? We put 2 and 2 together. He cried with joy. Fuck, my wish actually came true. Later, in high school, I was in the science stream, and he was in the arts. I had endless homework, and he spent a lot of time trying to hang out with me. When I said I had to study, he would just rest his chin on his hand and watch me quietly. For every basketball game, he would beg me to bring him water. Sarah, everyone else has a girlfriend bringing them water. You're my fiancé, you can't not come, right? Until one day, I had to go to a competition and refused him. He stared at me. Do you have to go? Is this competition that important? Honestly, I said, it's not that important. But I don't want to let my teacher down. And this is my choice. He said unexpectedly, when we get married, all of the Stewart Group's money will be yours. What will all this hard work do? I was silent for a long time. I'm sorry, I don't know how to explain it. But it's different. He nodded, said, okay, and turned to leave. The recent events flashed through my mind. Scene after scene, my thoughts slowly returned to the present. Suddenly, a tear fell from the corner of my eye. When had such an unhealable wound opened between us? Like a revolving lantern, burned an indelible scar on my heart. Chapter 12. The internet was flooded with news of Song Ling being the other woman and selling low-quality, counterfeit products. People finally realized that in the viral videos and photos from before, the third party was someone else entirely. I watched Song Ling frantically post explanations, the comment section a sea of angry messages. Many people also came forward, saying that the products she promoted had ruined their skin. Was it satisfying? I don't know. I only knew that if someone wanted to, public opinion, true or false, could be manipulated to fit their narrative. A strange number sent me a text. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I really know I was wrong. I knew Eric had a fiancé, I just thought you two weren't in love. I repent, I really know I was wrong. I'm sorry, can you let me go? Can you let Eric let me go? I'm innocent. I stared at the message. I could almost picture Song Ling's delicate but pale face. I moved my finger and blocked the number. The comments, which had been absent for a while, reappeared. They were much slower this time, less aggressive. I could even sense their hesitation. This plot is not right, is it? What's not right? There were too many people defending Eric before, so I didn't dare to speak up. I can't believe it. How is Eric worthy of her? Yes, even though the crown prince didn't sleep with Song Ling, and didn't even like her, he only got close to her to make Sweetie jealous. But he did spend a lot of money on Song Ling. I still find it disgusting. But on the other hand, he only spent the money to make her jealous. So isn't that technically spending it on her? Are you okay? Is your brain still working? Stop arguing, stop arguing. Isn't this ending pretty good? Sigh, I really hope all the main characters can be happy together. But in this situation, it's also good for her to be on her own. Yes, why did I have to be tied to Eric? Could I not live without him? Just then, the comments in front of my eyes began to fade. I widened my eyes. I saw the last comment before it disappeared completely. Everyone thinks differently, you can't force it. But I always hope that every female lead can find her true soul rather than becoming an appendage. Perhaps that's the meaning of these comments being seen? My gaze lingered on that last line for a long time. Finally, I lowered my head and smiled. My dream has always been finance. But my father would just scoff. You're going to be a housewife when you get married. Learning flower arranging is more useful than this. Later, when it came to choosing my major, we had a huge fight. He pointed at the door, his face red with anger. If you dare to study that stupid finance, I'll disown you. I immediately ran to the kitchen, grabbed a kitchen knife, and held it to my neck. Fine, then you can just have a dead daughter. We were at a standoff for a long time. He finally gave in, his face livid. I'm not going to bother with you anymore. But you have to be a good Mrs. Stewart. So now Eric, in his attempt to make me beg him a few days ago, had already started to mess with the Betrayal group. Now he was carefully asking me, do you need me too? I cut him off. No, I wanted a different life, so the people who stood in my way had better not appear in my life again. Chapter 13. The consequence of my ruthlessness was being tagged by my relatives in the family group chat every day. Cousin, tell your husband to stop. Is he crazy? Why is he still going after the Betrayal family? What good will it do you if the Betrayal family collapses? Without your family's support, how will you stand firm in the Stewart family? Cousin Sarah, we know you and your husband have made up. Please stop targeting us, okay? Opening square bracket ellipsis closing square bracket. I replied coolly. Even if he doesn't do it, I'll bring down the Betrayal family sooner or later. After sending that message, I left the family group chat that had brought me so much pain. I had a problem recently. Eric was harassing me on his own, and now Lorne had also returned to the country. I don't know how he got my contact information, but he would text me from time to time. Somehow, Eric found out, and the two of them got into another fight. I didn't want to deal with either of them, but if I blocked one number, another would pop up. I almost called the police. But the harassment wasn't too frequent, and the occasional gifts were to my liking. It would be a waste not to take them. Until one day in the parking lot, just as I unlocked my car, a sharp dagger lunged at me. But the expected pain never came. I was pushed to the ground by someone who had rushed over from the other side. The damp smell of the parking lot mixed with the smell of rust, making me wrinkle my nose. I got a clear look at the person with the dagger. My father's face was contorted with rage. I raised you for nothing, you ungrateful wolf. I'll kill you, you ungrateful wolf. Eric clutched his bleeding abdomen with one hand and shoved my father away with the other. Soon, bodyguards arrived and quickly restrained my father. I met his cold gaze. Having a father like you is my misfortune. He was dragged away, screaming and struggling, but it was useless. Spend the rest of your life in prison, I smiled. Out of humanitarian concern, I took Eric to the hospital. He held my hand tightly the whole way, his forehead beaded with sweat from the pain. I looked at him and asked, did you promise him a sum of money to let you play the hero? Eric looked at me in disbelief, his fingertips trembling. That's what you think of me? You've done it before, I said, looking away nonchalantly. His voice seemed to crack. I cut him off. Whatever the case, he's in jail. I'm satisfied with that result. He leaned weakly against my shoulder. How could I play with my own life? I'll pay for your medical bills. I'm leaving after we get to the hospital. All the strength seemed to drain from Eric's body. Tears streamed down his face as he whispered, I'm sorry, Sarah, I'm so sorry. I didn't respond. He laughed miserably. This is all my own doing. Chapter 14. After I left the hospital, the sun was shining brightly. I squinted, raising my hand to shield my eyes. My assistant called. Ms. Betrayal, there are some documents that need your attention. Okay, I said, I'll be at the office in a bit. I called for a driver. While I was waiting, a girl brushed past me, arguing on the phone. I heard you and Mom talking about Stuart going to my major. Can you please respect my choices? She started to sob. I tapped her on the shoulder. If you're determined to follow your dream, then do it. I can help you. She looked at me in surprise. Just then, Eric came chasing after me from the hospital. Aren't you afraid your wound will open up? I asked, my face impassive. He shook his head, his voice hoarse. I'm afraid if I look away for a second, someone else will snatch you away. I rolled my eyes. The girl followed me. Pretty sister, can you really help me? I have good grades, I won't let you down. I smiled. I can. She smiled back. While Eric was getting water, the girl asked curiously, is he your boyfriend? He's so handsome. I patted her head. No. I paused, then added, as long as you don't lose your way, you can have plenty of men like him in the future. The end. And that's a wrap on today's reading here at Booked for Drama. If you felt anything, rage, swoon, secondhand heartbreak, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your fellow drama lovers. If you have any requests, drop them in the comments. Until next time, keep reading, and keep the drama on the page.